Greetings, Bat Family. Welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. You can find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast. And if you're a fan of the show and you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. No pressure, but a big thank you, as always, to our patrons. You guys are amazing, and you just make our lives so much easier. So if you're out there and you're a patron, you know who you are. I'm sending you some long-distance bat love. Thank you. We are part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Instagram, Blue Sky, Letterboxd, and Threads. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. Now we are gearing up for the big DC film release of the year. That is Supergirl, coming in just a few weeks. And so we thought, what better way to prep for Supergirl's latest cinematic outing than by discussing her first cinematic outing. So we're going to be reviewing the Supergirl film from 1984. And we got another episode of The Batman to talk about. We're staying on it. I'm very proud of us. And so joining me for this big, fun, super party, I got two awesome Bat fans. First of all, you know him, you love him. He's become the regular co-host of the show ever since Jamie abandoned us, you know, like an unwanted child at a truck stop. It's Brendan Lowe. Hey, Brendan.
I was going to say, it's quite a juxtaposition. You've got this huge, bald, massive a man into this tiny little skinny Australian.
You're pocket-sized for convenience.
Yeah, I'm like Bane in Batman and Robin before he gets the
Venom. Yeah, you and Jamie are before and after on Bane.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. Well, welcome back.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Pleasure to take my rightful mantle back from that, horrendous wife of yours from last week.
I mean, I love you both. But yeah, sorry. Anyway, we also have another person joining us, and he was just here a couple weeks ago. It's amazing. He's back already. But the weird thing is we're not talking about toys. So I don't know if he's allowed to be on this episode. So hopefully the toy gods will forgive us. But it's Jay Yaws. Hey, Jay.
I'm glad to be the average height, slightly portly man in between Jamie and Brendan. So thanks for having me back again.
Oh,
so
great. I mean, yeah, it's like a, tall grande venti as you guys.
And you requested to be on this episode, Jay, which makes me question your sanity a little bit.
He did not. To be fair, he did not request, but here's what happened. If a few weeks ago, month ago, a little longer maybe, we were doing one of these episodes. I had put out my DC Blu-rays, and I told the story about how I had Supergirl on Blu-ray twice because I bought it twice, forgetting that I owned it. So I had two of them on my shelf. And I said, oh, maybe I'll offer it to Jamie. And Jamie goes, no, I'm good. I have it, I think. And then I get a message from one Jay Yaws, and he goes, hey, if Jamie doesn't want that Supergirl Blu-ray, I'll take it because, and I'm sorry to give this away, Jay, but I kind of like it too.
What's funny is I was looking through, Letterboxd scores and everything, and Jamie actually rated this higher than I did.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into it, but I mean, it's a fine movie. I am glad to own it and glad to receive it as such a loving gift for what ended up being a birthday gift. So thank you.
See,
I didn't know that backstory. I just remember talking about the message in our little three-way group chat. It was like, if you're going to cover it, I'd love to be involved.
Well, that's why, first of all, I'm glad that Blu-ray went to someone who would appreciate it and who would use it. So it makes me happy. So thank you, Jay. And then, so when we were doing this, I was like, well, I know who should join us. And it's Jay. I don't even remember him offering, honestly. Maybe he did. So
maybe I did. I mean, what better group to talk about a super heroine film than three white guys? So, hey.
It's okay. I love my super heroines. I think we all do.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So so three of us, we're going to talk about Supergirl from 1984. Super exciting, but because it is BatCast, we will talk about a Batman episode. It'll, be the great equalizer.
And there are
So,
Batman connections in the Supergirl movie as well. So it's all good. It's all good.
oh, are there?
Yeah, we'll get into
Okay, let's talk about it because nothing is jumping to mind, but I'm sure you'll say it and I'll go, oh, I think I just thought of it. Anyway,
I have
we'll
a
talk
little
about it.
idea, yeah.
Yeah, I think I know. Is it Pinewood Studios? Is that it?
Well, no, it's the dude, Ellis from Die Hard. He voiced
Oh, yes,
the
yes,
Oh,
yes.
the,
yeah.
sli-
So, for
the
some
the
reason, I was
slimy
thinking
guy in
Batman
SFX.
89.
It's both.
Oh no.
Anyway,
But
sorry.
also Pinewood Studios. Yeah.
Yes, we're getting out of ourselves. Pinewood Studios and yes, Hart Bachner. We're going to talk about both of those things. But let's kick it off. It is time to look back at Supergirl's first big screen outing in 1984's Supergirl. All right, Supergirl was released in the UK in July of 1984, and then not until Christmas in the United States, which I guess caused some drama. This was directed by Gino Zwark, one of me and Brendan's favorites.
The great,
who passed away not that long ago. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Gino Zwark. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I love him. I think he's underappreciated. He brought me Supergirl. He brought me Somewhere
Jaws
in Time. 2. He brought me Jaws 2, and he brought me Santa Claus the movie, and many, many episodes of Smallville. So I love Gino. R.I.P. I'm throwing you all the respect. But yes, Gino Zwark, also the director of Santa Claus the movie. This was written by David Odell, and it stars Faye Dunaway as everybody's favorite DC Comics villain, Selena. Not Selena Kyle.
Not Kyle.
Just Selena, one word, like Madonna.
Like Madonna, yeah.
Yep. You got Helen Slater as Supergirl, Hart Bachner, who we just mentioned. And yeah, Hart Bachner is Ethan, the dreamy landscaper. Peter Cook is in this, Mia Farrow, Mark McClure, the return of Jimmy Olsen, Brenda Vaccaro, and Peter O'Toole. The music was done by Jerry Goldsmith. I'll say it right now, I really love the Goldsmith score. I love it so much that I went and found an out-of-print soundtrack on CD that is on its way to me right now.
Of course you did.
Right up my alley. So, Supergirl, let's start, if we have any memories of the film. Brendan?
Well, I remember seeing the VHS at the video store a lot as a kid, but I never watched it. I remember, I think it was around the time the CW series was starting. I was like, I've never seen Supergirl. So I started watching it and never finished it, and I couldn't remember anything about it. I just remember that she was fighting witches, and one of them was Joey Tribbiani's mum.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I did not know. I assume you're talking about Brenda Vaccaro, right? But
yeah,
I guess I didn't know she was Joey's mom.
Yeah, the whole time, and even watching it the other night, I'm like, where? Because I know she's done a lot of things, but I'm just like, where do I know her? Like, where do I know her from? And I'm flicking through IMDb, and the second I saw, I was like, Mrs. Tribbiani, of course. Yeah, so I'd never seen this movie all the way through until Friday night. I think I'll just leave it at that for now. So I will just say I have no nostalgia, and I'm watching this for the first time effectively as a 42-year-old man in 2026. So yeah, I don't have any rose-colored glasses for this one at all.
All right. Jay, you gave us a little preview, but please share some of your memories.
So I don't really have nostalgic memories for it either. I probably watched it for the first time, I mean, several years ago when I was just going through a list of, any superhero comic book film that I hadn't seen. And yeah, I probably watched this and like Superman 4 around the same time just because I was kind of dreading them because they
Well, no
had
wonder this seemed not so bad.
they had reputations. But I watched it, and then I was like, I mean, that wasn't good, but it wasn't awful. And then a couple years ago, I watched all the live action Superman movies again, and I included this one, just because. And even then, I was like, I mean, it's fine, it's perfectly passable. And then even the other day when I watched it, I found it to be a lot funnier, maybe intentionally and unintentionally so. But I mean, it's not a great movie or even a good movie, but I mean, it's perfectly entertaining, and it's not without its charms and its positive points. So it's fine.
Yeah, I think I'm closer to you, Jay. But here's the difference: is I do have some nostalgic memories of this. Not a ton. It's not like this was on constant rotation when I was a kid, like other movies of the '80s. But I distinctly remember renting this on VHS when it came out at my dad's house and being very excited and a little confused that like, oh, there's a Supergirl movie. That was kind of exciting and unique and different. And then, not to jump ahead, but when you see that picture of Superman, you're like, oh, wait, like this is actually connected to the Superman movie. And I was still a kid, but I at least understood that. And that was exciting and cool. And so I remember watching it. And again, watching it when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, great. It was a Supergirl movie. I liked it. What's not to like? But it wasn't one that I revisited much post that because it's one of those movies, honestly, kind of like Masters of the Universe that I talked about with Scotty recently on the Real Fans show. It sort of disappeared for a lot of years because it got caught up in between, rights of who can release it on video. And so then it was unavailable for a lot of years. And then I remember in the early 2000s, Anchor Bay was finally able to release it on DVD, which was pretty exciting because it hadn't been available for like at least 10 years at that point. So I remember that. I didn't buy it though, because it was like a pretty hefty set. And also, I was pretty poor back then. And I was like, oh, I can't spend $40 on a double DVD of Supergirl. Right. So I didn't buy it, but I remember like holding it at like Virgin Megastore and going, oh my God, Supergirl, it's on DVD. How cool. So this was one I didn't revisit again until probably maybe like 10 years ago when it became available digitally on iTunes. I think I bought it there and I watched it there. And I remembered almost nothing from that revisit, but at some point in there, then Warner Brothers got the rights back, and then they released that Warner Archive Blu-ray, which I bought twice for some reason. And so I had that, but what's funny is I had two of them on my shelf. They were both still in the shrink wrap. So the one I sent to Jay had never been opened before, and then the one that I watched last night, I finally opened the shrink wrap because I had revisited it more recently, but again, that was just digitally. I hadn't opened the disc. So last night I was like, I'm gonna pop in the disc because in theory the disc should be better quality. That's what they tell me. I don't feel like that's always the case, but that's what they say. And Catherine goes, yeah, and also to justify why we still have all those discs. And I'm like, yes, exactly. So yeah, I popped open the disc and we watched it last night, but I had just revisited it probably a year or two ago. Maybe it was in the lead up to Superman, like you were saying, Jay, is like I was in a super mood. And so I was revisiting old Superman stuff. And I think I revisited Supergirl along with that because I still didn't remember much. So it was still kind of fresh this time. And then I watched it last night with Catherine and with Harley. Harley watched the whole thing with me. She had lots of questions.
I'm
so
sure
do I.
As you can imagine. But yes, like it's one of those that I've revisited it now multiple times as an adult, even though I hadn't seen it for probably 20 years between childhood and adulthood. And every time I watch it, I'm like, I don't know why it gets so much hate. Like, I'm not going to say it's great or even good, but it's also not that bad. And like when you look at like the user reviews and stuff, or even the Letterboxd average, it's pretty brutal. And I'm like, I just don't think it deserves that. I enjoy it when I revisit it. Last night, I had a great time watching it. And again, it's certainly not without its flaws. There's certainly problems with it, and there's certainly things I would have done differently. But for what it is, I have a good time watching it. So sue me.
So I actually have two kind of fun stories about it. One is kind of embarrassing, so I'll share it. So in the same vein as rewatching Superman movies leading up to Superman last year, I actually read a bunch of the prose novels that came out for the Superman movies. Like I'd read The Last Son of Krypton, which is technically the Superman the movie tie-in, even though for rights purposes or something with Mario Puzo's contract, it couldn't actually be an adaptation. So it's a brand new story. I'd read that, and I'd read Miracle Monday, which is kind of the same thing. It's a brand new story that tied in with the release of Superman 2, even though other than having Superman, it has nothing to do with Superman 2. But for pretty cheap on eBay, I found the novelizations of Superman 3 and Superman 4. So I bought those and read those. And I even bought the Supergirl novelization and,
Nice.
and read that. And I mean, it was written as, I mean, it had a kind of a sense of humor. Like it was kind of wry and kind of not like treating the material with contempt, but I mean, it had a sense of humor about it, and had a little bit of character in the prose and everything. So it was at least entertaining to read. Um, but still, I own the Supergirl novel, which is not, something most people would brag about, but, who cares? But for the Warner Archive Blu-ray, I actually, at Comic-Con the year it was released, I went to the press roundtable for, like, the release party, quote unquote, of that Blu-ray, and I got to interview Helen Slater and Mark McClure, so that was really fun.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, she was really nice. She was lovely and just very gracious and everything. And Mark McClure might have been having a bad day. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that.
That's too bad.
I'll just leave it at that.
That's a shame. Anyway, well, me and Jay already kind of gave away that we think it's all right. We're not gonna, fight to the death saying it's an underrated masterpiece or anything, but we thought it was okay. But Brendan, you, not so much.
Look, I'll say this. So in the last 2 weeks, actually, sorry, in the space of a week, really, I watched 1987 Masters of the Universe, which I only saw once when I was around 8, I think, and I remember nothing about. And I watched this, which, like I said before, I haven't really seen before. And I gave Masters of the Universe a 2-star Letterboxd review.
Since I know, and I'm still mad at you.
Since watching Supergirl, I seriously need to rethink my Masters of the Universe review. Because to me, that was a masterpiece compared to Supergirl. It's so weird. And look, while watching it, I was doing a bit of reading up on it at the same time because I just needed to
understand what had happened.
Yes. and I'm not saying this to be like to try and make a joke or be a dick or anything, but it blew my mind that this movie came out only 12 months before Santa Claus the movie, from the same director and the same producers. And I was just like, wow, I can see where all their money and even Gino's directing talent, like, were they more focused on Santa Claus the movie? Because this looks like a TV show compared to Santa Claus, like the quality of Santa Claus the movie, and it's the same people. I'm just like, how are these two things only 12 months apart? and one looks so cheap and tacky, and the other one looks gorgeous and still holds up all these years later in terms of like the North Pole set. You know what I'm talking about, the sets and the costumes and that sort of stuff. Like absolutely worlds apart, but so connected, and not a lot of time between them. It literally blew my mind. But like just from when the opening credits started, I was like, oh, we're in trouble. It just, even the opening credits, like it felt like a copy of a copy of a copy of like, you know, Superman the movie, which by that stage it kind of was, because the Superman 2 credits tried to emulate it but be different, and Superman 3 credits, obviously with all the slapstick stuff going on, you know, underneath it, like they tried to emulate it as well. And then this came along, and it's just like, I don't know, this, like I said, it's just weird. Like I was just questioning so many things of like the stuff in Argo City, I thought was cool. I had no problem with that. Like obviously it looked like a cheap version of Krypton Krypton from the first movie. You know, a lot of like plastic windows and things. But
I thought it looked kind of like a 70s hippie commune or something. Like it's funny because the movie is like in the middle of the 80s, but to me it had very much stronger 70s vibes.
Yeah,
and maybe it is because it was trying to like emulate the style of Superman the movie, and so it felt a little more throwbacky. Because, yeah. Anyway, all right, continue.
But and just like the witches of it all as well, like the what's the MacGuffin called again? The Powerball,
Omega Hedron, or
the Omega Hedron. Like it just happened to land in the picnic of this evil witch and her like math teacher warlock boyfriend. Yeah, like that was that whole thing is odd. And then I mean, things are just jumping to my mind, so I'm jumping all over the place. But then like I was aghast in 1984, and this again, I know it's 1984, but in this family movie, and I replayed the scene to Jess, and she was just like, oh my God, like her first interaction with humans are two rapists, like literally two rape, and they're touching her and all over her. And she's like, why are you doing this? It's just what we do. And I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy in this family movie from the 80s. Like these complete sex pests, and they don't really get the comeuppance. Like they're just like, we probably shouldn't talk about this to anyone. It's like, no, you should be in prison.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the Linda Lee, it's just like, what, like, why? Like, you could just be Kara. Like, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like, Superman's like, he's still Clark. Like, he's Clark Kent. Like, no one knows that Kara is Supergirl. He could just be Kara. But then her whole, and like, I know the Superman movies became sort of famous for, or infamous for this, as well as they moved on. Like, you know, the magic kiss of Superman and the cellophane S and this sort of stuff. But like, she can just morph into a completely different person with different hair and clothes. And I'm just like, oh, okay, sure. But then like the Hart Bochner of it all, again, like, how old's he supposed to be? Because she's like in high school. It's just like, again, 1984 compared to 2026, but the optics aren't great. It's like, that's a little creepy. Like, he's got to at least be in his mid to late 20s. He's only in terms of the actor, he's only 4 years away from Die Hard, where he looks like he's in his 40s. And it's just like, this is a bit creepy as well. Like, she's really young. I know in real life she was 19 when they made it, but I mean, like, in terms of the character, she's high school, and it's a bit, and it's the same guy that Selena's going after, and she's well into her 40s. This is really, really weird. Yeah, I'm sure when you guys discuss things, other things will pop into my head, but I mean, yeah,
you said what you have to say, and you're going to tap out for a little bit.
It's just it's so weird. Is sort of the best way I can describe it. And as you guys said, like, it's it's not a good movie. Like it really isn't. It's like it. I said, I just keep going back to the whole, like, how is this made by the same people who 12 months later released Santa Claus the movie, which looks like a real movie? And this, I mean, this looks like it was made by Canon Films. It really does. It's
like,
so weird. It's just bizarre.
Like, I won't refute or argue anything you've said at all, because, I mean, your points are incredibly valid and spot on. Thinking, and I don't know if this was their mentality or, even subconsciously, but I do wonder if with Superman and even with Santa Claus, the Salkins and everyone involved were thinking, okay, we have to do this right because this is Superman, this is Santa Claus, these are icons of, American and, just world culture and everything. Whereas with Supergirl, I wonder if they just didn't think, we have the rights, let's make a movie, who cares?
But they were
So
trying
that's
to
what they
right
did.
the ship of the Superman franchise because Superman 3 didn't do that well. Like, they were trying to re-energize the franchise from everything I read, and it's like, this is what you came up with? Really? Like, Superman 4 is better than this, in my opinion.
No, come on. Now you're just being silly.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I do have nostalgic, feelings for that movie because I used to watch it as a kid. But I'd sooner watch that before I watch this again. I don't know if I'll ever watch this again. Yeah. Like I said, the best way I can describe it is it's just so weird.
Does have a distinct lack of Lenny Luthor, so I'll give you that one.
Well, that's fair.
I'd rather Lenny Luthor than the math teacher. Like, I think he's the most British person in a movie I've seen ever. And I'm obsessed with the Bond films, as you know, but like, just the look of him and the teeth of it all, like, it's so British. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I will not argue that it's weird because it's absolutely weird. It's obviously weird that I can get more on board with than you can. A lot of your points are valid. I will push back that it looks cheap, like it looks like a TV show. I don't agree with that. I think that's a huge exaggeration because there are a lot of things that looked shockingly good last night when I was watching it. So I think that's a bit much.
Maybe it's the Blu-ray. I don't know.
Maybe, but like, I was surprised at how good the flying effects still were in this, even after Superman 1, 2, and 3. And maybe that is because it was a new director and he was like, it was his first time getting to do it. And so if I was shocked at how good some of that stuff looked. But yeah, a lot of the story choices are bizarre, and, reading up on it, and I'm sure that you probably came across this, is like, this was not the movie that it was meant to be, but then when Christopher Reeve dropped out and they had to rewrite it, and they decided, they kept stepping farther and farther away from the comics as their plans fell apart. And that's how you end up with Supergirl fighting witches. And so the witches of it all is super weird. And it's like, what a choice, right? But again, now
the Ghost Train hideout. That's
the best part. That's the best part. That part's awesome. Of course, I love the villains hanging out in an abandoned old haunted house. That's awesome, and they still use the train to go in and out of the living room. That's
I have it playing on mute right now, and yeah, Bianca just rolled up in the train.
That is
Selena was making the love potion.
That's awesome. So some of that stuff is, I like it. And then, there is some of the stuff that, like everything with Hart Bachner, in my opinion, doesn't work. And for me, it's not even the age of it, which I get what you're saying, but I think they're pretending he's like 23, even though I looked it up, he was 27 at the time. So I think they're like, that didn't bother me because I'm like, I get
he's 31 in Die Hard.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a rough 31.
People the 80s were rough on everyone.
Yeah, it's true.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, man. But like, it didn't bother me that whatever, he was technically an adult and she was, I guess, in high school. It certainly felt weird that Selena and Bianca were like, look at that. That's what we need. And the fact that a huge chunk of the movie is Selena being like, I'm going to put my world domination on hold because really, I just got to get me that man. That's super weird. um, and then, like, yeah, the love story to me doesn't work at all because, like, they never actually have a conversation. Because the first time they meet, he's under a magic spell, and then when he's out of the magic spell, they're just like, "Oh, we're in love now, I guess." So yeah, none of that stuff works for me. But there are things that do work for me. Like, I love the opening credits. I think they were cool as hell. I love the idea that they're like certainly inspired by Superman, but they're not just doing the same thing. You could almost say that they're a cousin to the opening credits of Superman the movie. And like I said, I love the Goldsmith score. I think that he creates a really cool superhero, Supergirl score that feels related to what John Williams did, but separate. And I appreciate them trying to thread that needle of like, it's in that universe, but it's still got to feel like its own thing. And I think that a lot of that stuff they do well. I the whole thing about her just like, you know, walking through a tube from Supergirl into Linda, Superman did that in all the Superman movies too. So I think that was just the Salkins not realizing that he actually has to take off the clothes. And they just did the same thing here. Don't you remember there's one of the movies where he jumps off the balcony as Clark Kent and just fades into Superman.
Yes.
Yeah. So like they just, you know, they were just playing by those rules. But yeah, I think there are certainly, it has its charms. And again, would I have wanted the first Supergirl movie to be Supergirl versus Selena, someone they made up? No. Even now, would it have been cooler if she'd have fought anyone that we might know from the comics? Yes. But now looking at its own little like time capsule of 1984, I think it's kind of fabulous that Supergirl is fighting this over the top witch named Selena, played by Faye Dunaway.
Watching it too, I
that's
had
part
to
of the
think.
fun of it.
I had to think to myself that I'm sure Jay will know, but like, surely Selena has appeared in the comics since then. Like some writer who grew up loving this movie she's been in the comics. Has she?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, I thought you might know.
No, I know that one, and yes, she has.
Yeah, of course she has.
but not until 2017. So
really?
Recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose the age, if they grew up with it, they'd be around our age. That'd make sense.
But yeah, so yeah, she eventually did show up. So yeah, again, like what I would have considered a deficit in 1984 now I think is part of the charm of the movie of like, yeah, it's two witches hanging out in an old amusement park and they want to take over the world. There's fun in that, especially like the diva-ness of Selena is just so hilarious. And I freaking love Bianca. I think she is hysterical.
I liked her. I thought she was great, but it's odd that I don't know if it's meant to be kind of like not the dumb sidekick like Lex Luthor had, but just like, because Selena is so evil. But what's the other ones? Bianca. Like she seems to be more cash and just like more fashion forward and trendy. It's just like, why are you two together? Like, it doesn't seem like you want the same thing.
Yeah,
she's more of a realist.
What I liked about the two of them, and even Nigel, is none of them are like bumbling idiots. They all have like the same level of contempt for each other. And it's like they want to outdo the hamminess and contempt that they have. And that's what keeps them together.
Yeah.
That's also what makes it feel like they're in a completely different movie than literally everybody else. But
I do. Oh, sorry, good.
Well, no, it's just that's part of what makes it fun is they kind of know, okay, this. I mean, it would have been nice to have a super sincere Supergirl movie because, like, anything with Helen Slater is very, very good. Like, she's great in the role.
Yeah.
She
loved Helen Slater. I thought she was great. I forgot to mention that.
It. I mean, there are moments like just with her that, and even with Lucy Lane that are, you know, very nice, you know, fun moments. Like her sincerity in the role is fantastic. But then, yes, you come to these over the top, very fabulous witches and a warlock who are tacked on from maybe like the fifth rewrite of 18 rewrites of this screenplay. And they are just doing something that is very fun to watch, but really isn't part of everything else that's going on. But I mean, there is a campy charm in that too.
Yes, I agree. I like the campy charm of it, but I do think like, again, like I'll agree with some of what Brendan is saying is like Nigel, I don't even know why he's there.
Oh no.
Like you can make this movie without Nigel. I don't know why, but I do wonder if the Salkins are like, well, no, Lex had two sidekicks, so Selena needs two sidekicks. Like that's the formula. That's what we do. And so like Nigel is kind of like the Tessmacher, and Bianca is kind of like the Otis. But I just find Bianca really entertaining to watch, and her lines aren't even very good. But she is one of those actors who like sells a crap line with her charisma, and you go, she's killing it up there.
Yeah.
And she even said, I guess years later, she's talked about the movie. She goes, like I had fun, but I don't know why I was there. My character didn't have much to do. And it's like, well, you were there because Selena needed someone to talk to. That's why there is always a sidekick. But she made the most of a character that was kind of pointless, and she's a ton of fun to watch. Like at the end, I love when she's like, yeah, I'm going to get going. I'm going to leave. And Selena like blasts her with her magic, and she goes, I'm staying. And so like things like that legitimately made me laugh.
And that was something I meant to mention too, is Nigel, he just gets away scot-free. He's an evil warlock who does some messed up shit. And at the end, he's just like, well, and then he meets up with a cute blonde again to live happily ever after. It's like, that's not okay. And Lucy Lane, I thought, like, played by not Courtney Cox. Like, God, she looks like a young Courtney Cox.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I also think she's really good. I find her really fun to watch, and I dig that. She was 31 when they made this.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
She was also in Grease too, for what it's worth.
Yes, wow. I did see that. That's another thing, like the high school plot, like then it sort of becomes like a, not a teen sex comedy, but some of the tropes of like, the bullies hiding in the shower and all that sort of stuff. It's like, why is this part of this movie? Like, why? It just didn't make any sense.
So it is worth noting for our friends at home, there are 3 cuts of this film. So there is a 1 hour and 45-minute cut, and that was the theatrical cut in the United States. There is a 2-hour cut, or I think it's like 2 hours and 4 minutes, something like that, which is that was the quote unquote original cut, and the cut that was released internationally outside of the United States. That is the most common cut these days of what you'll get. Like on iTunes, it's the 2-hour cut. On the Blu-ray, it is the 2-hour cut, but the Blu-ray comes with a special disc that is also the director's cut, which I guess is even 20 minutes longer than the international.
That must have been what I watched, because mine was around 2 hours 17.
Oh wow. So look at you. I've never watched the director's cut, but I need to. I want to. But yes, like for this, I watched the 2-hour cut, and I think Jay did as well.
I did, yeah.
I must have not. I don't think I've seen the 145 since, in the 80s. But there are things when I'm like, okay, I know that they cut almost 20 minutes out of this for theaters in the United States. I'm like, I bet that shower scene was gone. Like, cause yes, like I understand what they're going for, kind of like a cute teen like comedy
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But like you don't need it. Right. I'm sure that like the big party at the Haunted Mansion, I'm sure that was gone, cause there's not much in there that's important other than to see Selena and all of her witch friends and her get mad at that nerdy girl in the glasses. So like there are things where I'm like, I bet you that was the stuff that they lost. But then there is something, since we're talking about it, I'm curious. I feel like there's a huge gap towards the end where I'm like, that stuff's got to be in the director's cut, because there's a huge jump where Selena finally, with the crazy magic wand that Nigel gives her, and with the dodecahedron or whatever the hell it is.
With MacGuffinhedron.
Yeah,
they probably don't care either, so it's fine.
The spinning ball, but with the power of both, she now can get whatever she wants, and she makes this giant mountain with a palace on top for her to live on, and it just appears in this town. And then the next time you see it, there's like protesters being like, "Selena, get out of here, we don't want you." And it was like, there had to have been something in there where she quote unquote took over the town, because why would there be protesters? Like how would anyone even know who she was? Right. So I just feel like there was probably a missing.
There wasn't anything in the version I watched, because it was the same thing. Like it just cut to the protesters while they were driving around in like a Hitler car. which is
Yeah.
again, I was like,
Yeah.
that's a choice. But yeah,
Well,
and
I'll report back when I watch the director's cut and see if it's in there, or if they really do just dump to that and they just you just assume.
I will say I'm pretty sure in the novel it does touch on that. Like Selena taking over. I want to say that she had like taken over the town for a couple weeks or even months before Supergirl was able to come back from the Phantom Zone. So she had been, messing up people's lives for a while. So that's
Yeah. And
so,
that's
so I
just it.
mean,
Is like I needed something in there that was like when Supergirl got back, it's like you've been gone for 3 months or whatever, just to
right. Yeah.
understand like that. Yeah, Selena has not only taken over the town, she's taken over a huge chunk of the country or whatever. Like I just needed to know that, and it's not in there. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's in the director's cut.
actually, that's
There are very low stakes and consequences and everything in this movie. So
Because as it is, it looks like she is only taking over this tiny Midvale, Illinois town. Like not even the neighboring towns, not even Chicago. She just took over this one teeny weeny little town that looks like it was built on a backlot.
I do.
Spoilers, it was.
I do have a question about the dodecahedron, though. And this
Yes.
is one of my confusing moments, and maybe I missed it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like when she gets it, does it take over her, or does she just know how to use it? Because that's kind of what seems like to me. She
I
just gets it and is like, I know how to use this thing. It's like, but how? And then when she takes it back to the hideout, the thing she stores it in is like perfectly shaped. Like it's like literally the size of the dodecahedron. I'm like, well, how convenient.
it does not possess her. I think it's just she just realizes this is a powerful thing, and then yes, she just starts using it. Because there are moments where she makes something happen, like where she looks in the mirror and she can see what Hart Bachner is up to, and Bianca's like, "How'd you do it? Do it again." And she's like, I don't know how I did it. I just did it." So like she doesn't know how to do everything yet.
Okay.
I want to back it up to Argo City. Um, the design is super wacky, but again, I kind of dig it. Like to me, it's much more 70s vibe. Of a yeah, it almost feels like like a kind of a free love type of situation, or it almost looks like a hotel lobby in 1977 or something. Um,
not for that reason, but I would rather live in Argo City than Superman the movie's Krypton because it
Agreed.
actually looks inhabitable.
I've
Yeah.
always said that is like I never know like in Krypton in Superman the movie I'm like how do people live here? This at least feels habitable.
Yeah.
Um, and so like there's the whole setup there and the whole explanation of they're in inner space not outer space. I can't make sense of that. I just kind of have to go with it of like I don't know how Argo City is in inner space and then she breaks through. I'm confused by all that. But um, Peter O'Toole is Zoltar, another favorite comic book character. Um, and Mia Farrow is Kara's mother, and so you can tell that again they were like doing the formula of they're like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah.
huge star for the villain, huge stars for the supporting roles. Like Mia Farrow had to have been there one day, but
Oh
that's
yeah.
okay. They got her name, they could put her on the poster, it counts. And so yeah, like you could tell that like Peter O'Toole, like oh, here are these respected actors that they got to surround an unknown in the role of Supergirl. So yeah, anyway, like I just thought that was interesting because also when I was like, oh, Mia Farrow's in this. Oh, for this one scene, and then we never see or hear from her again. Um, but yeah, so the setup in Argo City again, very reminiscent of Krypton, but slightly different. And I also appreciate that wherever they are in inner space, she knows about Superman. So she's like, oh, Earth, yeah, that's where my cousin went.
Yeah.
um, and then yeah, she has her own little pod where they lose the Omega yeah they lose it. And I also appreciate that Zoltar is like, well guys, this is my fault, you better put me in the Phantom Zone, my bad, you guys all get to suffocate, put me in the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, not like I'll
So
try and
my
save her or anything. It's just like, nah, put me in the Phantom Zone.
yeah, he 100% did that on purpose because he wanted out of there. So it's clearly, well, you guys are gonna die, and yeah, my fate's gonna be worse by not dying. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. But then she gets her own like travel to Earth in the pod, and I appreciate that somewhere on that journey, like the suit just forms around her, so when she
Yeah.
lands, she's in the suit.
I mean, you can see like the similar blankets to that
Yes,
were
yes.
in
While she sits down,
Baby
yeah,
Clark's. Yeah. So
yeah. And very in the beginning when watching it, Harley is like, first of all, the opening credits. Harley's like, "Where's Supergirl?" And I'm like, "Oh, these are the credits. These are people's names." And she goes, "I want to see Supergirl. That's enough names." And then at the end of the movie, when the credits started back up, she goes, "Oh no, more names." But at the very beginning, she was like, "Oh, where's Supergirl?" I'm like, "Oh, that's her right there." And she's like, and she goes, "Oh, but where's her Superman suit?" I'm like, "Don't worry, she'll get it soon. It's fine." Um,
they really don't waste time. I mean,
no, they don't.
yeah, I mean, she gets it pretty quick.
I respect that. It's like, yeah, the Argo City thing is pretty quick, and she's on her way to Earth, and then by the time she gets to Earth, she is in the suit. So yeah, and like you guys were saying, I think Helen Slater is great in this. I think she's very earnest, but she's very likable. She's charismatic. I think she's great.
Yes. And I mean, the scene where she lands and is flying around, there's maybe some dodgy camera angles that maybe they use just to, hide the wires and everything. Like a lot of it's shot from behind, maybe like a tree where there's some branches in the way. So it's not an entirely clear shot of her flying around. But I mean, it's a wonderful scene with her just enjoying having these powers and even using goofy things like flower growing vision to go along with Superman's, amnesia kiss and cellophane S chest and everything. It's a terrific scene of her landing on Earth.
I agree. I loved it. I thought it was a really nice way to do like a first flight, but in a unique way for Supergirl, where it's almost like a ballet before she then does like her world tour flying. I thought it was really cool. What's interesting is though when she erupts out of the water, um, I was like that looked a little weird, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I did some reading, and it's because when she first bursts out of the water, it is like a piece of wood with a photo of her on it that they just pulled out of the water.
Oh, really?
You can I thought it was maybe she had her hands on like a bar that was attached to a wire, because I had to rewind it because you can kind of see like a black line coming up the center of the frame.
Yes, and that's
So I
yeah.
thought I thought maybe they just didn't brush out the wire well enough, but that makes sense too.
Yep. So I was like, oh, that had to have been what I saw. But like I said, then when she is learning to fly and everything, I think all that's really charming and I think it's well done. And again, I think the flying effects still look pretty darn good, especially like later on when it's like the action flying, like when she busts through the water tower and stuff. I thought that stuff looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have it here right now, and then when she's flying along that bulldozer or whatever, and she gets right up under there on the undercarriage to take it apart to save, oh gosh, Ellis, whatever his name is, to save him.
Ethan.
Ethan, that's right. I mean, that's still impressive that she was able to get that close in camera.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So like, yeah, I agree. I like that whole initial sequence. I think that's nice. And again, I really like her in it. Um, it is worth talking about, the Christopher Reeve of it all. The stories seem to change a little bit depending on who's telling as to why he wasn't involved because he was supposed to be. My hunch, just using common sense, is that, yeah, this came after Superman 3 was a huge disappointment critically and commercially. And so I've got to imagine that he was like, he saw the writing on the wall and's like, it's probably best that I don't show up in Supergirl because he was probably still licking his wounds from Superman 3.
Yeah.
I also had to wonder if it was the 1984 of it all with Superman needing to be saved by a girl. Like, I just wondered if maybe that might have been part of it as well, because, back then.
Yeah, I mean, because I guess there were multiple stories that they were considering, and yes, I guess one of them is that she had to save him.
Yeah.
Like he had been incapacitated by Selena, and so she had to save him. I don't hate that. But yeah, who knows what it would have ended up being. But
Yeah. I
I
like
do
the
mourn.
radio thing in the, like, she
Yes,
gets in the car and the radio instantly. That's why it's like, oh well, that explains that. But
There you
the
go.
fact they took the time to do that, I thought was okay. Credit where credit's due.
agree. I thought that was cool. Of like, oh, yep, Superman's off world, so don't worry about it. But I do mourn for the alternate timeline where they did share the screen. I think that could have been really cool.
Yeah.
One of the plans was for her to show up in Superman 3 and then come into her own film, but at least he would have shown up in this. I wish that would have happened, but unfortunately it didn't. So yeah, I always wonder what that could have been.
Mm.
Yeah, because I mean, like with this movie, anything with Superman 3 and 4, which I mean, I don't hate Superman 4 either. Again, it's not good, but it's better than some really bad comic book movies. But any problems with those was never Christopher Reeve. Any problems with this movie is never Helen Slater. So even if he had appeared in this and it being subpar in the end, regardless, it still would have been nice to see Superman in this movie.
Yeah. And I appreciate how they left the door open with the poster of like, no, trust me, that's still Superman. That's still this world, like just in case. And again, as a kid, that still blew my mind of like, oh, it's Superman. But even though you didn't get Christopher Reeve, you do get Jimmy Olsen. You get Mark McClure. And what's funny is that didn't really register with me as a kid. I guess he just didn't leave enough of an impression. So I wasn't really blown away by Jimmy Olsen's presence here. But now as I'm older, I'm like, oh, that is cool that they found a way to connect it. And I appreciated that. But that leads to the best scene in the movie.
Brought to you by Popeyes.
Popeyes is the best part of this movie. I freaking love it. First of all, I love like they're going away for a 3-day weekend, and Lucy is like, "Come on, Kara, come with me." Or not Kara, Linda, because she thinks she's Linda. Come on, Linda, come with me. And she's like, "No, I'm going to stay behind." And she goes, "Okay, but meet us at Popeyes. It's going to be a lot of fun." And I just love that the big weekend plans is, guys, we're going to Popeyes.
And I love that Jimmy orders the food and is like, okay, who wants onion rings? It's like, did you just order random things off the menu?
Yes.
And you're offering it to people.
He's like, yeah, give me a little bit of everything and we'll see what people want. And he comes back, okay, guys, dig in. Pick what you want. The Popeyes of it all is like so in line with McDonald's and Santa Claus the movie. And I freaking love it. It is shameless. And then even when, like all things start going wrong and the bulldozer goes crazy, and then you see Supergirl fly up on the top of Popeyes, and there's like a beauty shot of the Popeyes restaurant with Supergirl on top. I was like, this is shameless, and I so love it.
It's her Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man on the American flag.
It was awesome. And like even now, if you like type in Supergirl 1984, one of the first photos that pops up is her standing in front of Popeyes.
Oh gosh, sidebar, I just did a post on my little blog that I, randomly write for every now and then about all the Superman suits in live action. And from watching this, I got inspired to do one for Supergirl too. It took me forever to find a picture of Helen Slater as Supergirl without Popeyes in the background.
That's amazing.
I don't think that
Brendan,
me as much because I don't know what Popeyes is. So
I was just about to ask, like, do you have Popeyes? But yes, Popeyes is a fast food chicken place.
Does it still exist?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's actually pretty good. I like it.
They have good red beans and rice and a good spicy chicken sandwich.
The spicy chicken at Popeyes is legit, but Popeyes is like C tier. I would say, like, it isn't McDonald's and it isn't even Burger King. It's Popeyes. And so again, it also says something about the Supergirl cachet that their tie-ins were Popeyes. And then A&W. Did you notice A&W twice?
I did. Yeah.
So one of the rapists is wearing an A&W shirt, which I'm like, I don't know. If I was A&W, that's not where I would want you to put it in the movie, personally.
Was it the rapist that was Matt Frewer?
Yes, Matt Frewer.
It was Matt Frewer? Okay.
It was Matt Frewer. And Matt Frewer is awesome. And I like,
Yes.
it's a pretty small part here, but Matt Frewer, that guy rocks. He's been a character actor now for 40 years, but he's one of those that is always great and somehow never like rose to that next level, but he's just always been good. So yes, I love that it was Matt Frewer, but yeah, he's wearing an A&W shirt. And then later on, with the first time that Supergirl fights the Shadow outside the dorms, where she goes up and gets the light pole charged up with electricity. I don't know how that works physically, but I like it. But yeah, she gets like blasted back into a soda machine with A&W on it. And so I thought that was funny.
Is Matt Frewer the rapist that looks like Beavis?
He's the skinny one.
Okay.
The taller one.
Okay.
So Matt Frewer, he's been in a lot of stuff.
He was he Moloch in Watchmen?
He was Moloch in Watchmen. He was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He was the neighbor.
That's one I haven't seen in a long time.
He was Max Headroom was kind of his biggest thing. He was the villain in the made-for-TV Generation X movie.
Heck yeah, he was.
Yeah. Which I also kind of like.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, I'm glad you're here. But no,
well,
he was.
This is all lost on me. I just remember one of them looked old and one of them looked a bit like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead.
He was the voice of Panic in Disney's Hercules. He's been around forever. He just never became a huge star, but he was always working. And yeah, this was, I guess, one of his first things.
Definitely
I do agree.
A that guy actor. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. That scene is super uncomfortable. Yes. And it was so fun to explain that to Harley. Let me tell you.
I was going to say, because I wanted to keep a lot of the powder dry for the podcast, but when you showed a photo of Harley watching it, I'm just like, but the rapist, Andy, the rapist. I was like, I'll save that for the podcast. But yeah, I had to show that scene to Jess. And like I said, she was just like, holy shit.
I mean, Harley's like, what's going on? And I just like, they're not being very nice to her. And that's not okay that they're doing that. And she's like, okay. And then Supergirl kicked their butts and she's like, okay. And that it was okay.
Okay.
But yes, she definitely was like, what's happening? Why?
It was like, I like you just won the grand prize, baby. It was like,
yeah,
who wrote this dialogue?
When I see stuff like that in like movies, I'm like, has this approach ever worked for you with a real life woman? Because I can't imagine it did. But she beats them up. But you're right; it'd been nice if they'd gotten picked up and gone to jail or something.
Died,
whatever. Whatever works. You mentioned earlier, I think it was when Jay was having earbud problems, but the principal, his last name is Danvers, which is kind of a fun nod to Kara Danvers. And again, I love, and this is not just this movie, this is 80s movies in general, where someone shows up to a school and is like, I'm a new student.
Yes.
And they go, great, come on in. I'll take you to your first class. No ID, no information, no nothing. And all they needed was a letter signed by Clark Kent that she did, which I thought was cute. But like, it's like, you don't even have an ID. Like they can't even check that you are who you say you are. But it was the 80s. We just go with it.
I just love the scene too with the, because obviously she's a boarder. When she comes in the Supergirl costume, and the old woman who's supposed to be, what would she be like, looking at like
the headmistress or something,
drunk or anything, like absolutely pissed out of her mind, and she's responsible for all these girls, and she can't even tell that a flying superhero doesn't belong in the dorm building. Like, okay, I guess it was the 80s.
Well, Lucy does say that. She's like, oh, it'll be fine. So-and-so will be drunk as a skunk by now. So they know how it goes. But then she does, she battles the shadow outside. And again, is it cheesy? Yes. Do I like it? Also, yes. Like, I just love like her ripping off that lighting pole and flying up and letting it get charged up by lightning.
I'm like, what? Like, but why? That's the question. I'm just like, how does she know this is going to work? And why is she doing it? That was another one. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Maybe like Clark, when he came to Earth, he learned everything through talking Jor-El head. That sounded weird. Never mind. But
It is
she
weird.
learned everything going from inner space to outer space in her little rocket, and she could see all the weird things Superman can do, and that's just one thing we hadn't seen before.
But
I'm giving this way more credit than it
it's
deserves.
very specific for for a very specific situation, and it's just like she knew what to do. It's like this is anyway. But I will say about
this
that
is
scene.
still very much pre-crisis Silver Age Superman stuff, so I'm willing to give it a pass for that, because Superman himself was doing all sorts of weird stuff like in the 50s and 60s. So if the movies want to do some weird stuff, I really don't care that much.
But I will say about that scene with the shadow thing, I did appreciate the practical, miniature, all the special effects, like that stuff I liked, because it's like, well, that, takes you back to a bygone era and everything. So I thought that was cool. And that did look okay. And I think, if I'm correct, I saw the special effects supervisor. I can't remember, but I think it was someone who has gone on to do a lot of, was it Derek Meddings? I can't remember. But went on to do a lot of really, really good stuff. But the name definitely rang a bell for me anyway when I saw it in the credits.
First of all, yes, like her absorbing the lightning and it somehow working, totally random. Absolutely. Again, I think I'm willing to roll with it for the same reason Jay is saying of like, hey, like at the time, weird, but you're right. In a movie today, if that were to happen, I'm sure I would give it shit. So I understand that. But,
Totally.
but again, with this movie, I'm like, okay, sure. But that's kind of fun, kind of different, something unique. But what I do love the setup of the shadow. I think that is cool of like, Nigel kind of implying that that's a thing that you got to be careful of. And then her sending it after Supergirl where it's teased, but we don't see it. And then actually getting this giant demon monster in the end. I was like, you know what? That's pretty darn cool that they built this freaking thing and we actually get to see it. Cause I could totally see like a version of this where we don't see it and it feels like we're cheated.
The way it was shot, the way it looked to me was very weird though. Like, I guess, I don't know if it's meant to be because it's like a shadow thing, but I don't know. It didn't look right to my eye, if that makes sense.
I mean, it did look weird, sure. And it definitely felt like they had some trouble kind of like mixing the creature and making it look huge, but also the effect on Supergirl getting like crushed in its hands. Yeah, for sure.
It was odd.
I want to go back to Selena for just a second because it is Faye Dunaway. I think she is a lot of fun to watch in this movie. I love the way that she is lit, kind of like Morticia Addams, where she's like got the light on her eyes. And I guess that was like a huge problem, is that she was just a nightmare. And like over the years, like all the stories have come out like, oh yeah, she was total diva. And I guess they've all talked about it. And she almost got fired from the movie multiple times for just being a nightmare. And I guess one of the things was that she was like, no, you have to, shoot me in soft focus and you have to light me a certain way so I look my absolute best. And I guess she and Gino Zwart got into it and eventually he just relented because he needed to finish the movie.
But again, Gino doesn't look like the kind of guy that rolls over easy.
But I do like, again, like if that's why it happened, sure, but I actually like it because it just gives Selena this extra like level of diva-ness that I think is fun. But did either of you happen to see who they wanted to get?
No.
If I did, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, it's one of my favorite humans on the planet.
Oh, Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
I did see that.
That would have been incredible.
I forgot.
That is
imagine the accent alone.
Allegedly, they offered her $7 million to do it, and she said no because she's like, I can't be a witch, So first of all, like I understand again, like Gene Hackman is Lex Luthor. John Lithgow is BZ. They wanted a larger than life personality for the villain. I get that. I cannot picture Dolly Parton playing Selena. I just cannot do
Like,
it.
I can't picture Harrison Ford as BZ. Like,
I kind of can. I can kind of see how that could work. It wouldn't be as over the top, but I could kind of see it. As like a sleazy businessman, I could see Harrison Ford doing that. But like Dolly Parton to be the evil witch, I just can't see it. So I think that Dolly made the right choice there. But like what a weird choice. I guess they also went to Jane Fonda was another option. And again, take this all with a grain of salt. This is IMDb, but like, uh, Jane Fonda was also offered the role of Bianca, and she's like, I'm not playing the sidekick, and so she said no.
Did either of you? Because I know Jay sent through the link to us about from a making of special from 1984. Did either of you watch that?
I didn't have a chance, sadly.
Yeah,
I was real
did.
tired.
So it's introduced by Faye Dunaway, not as Selena, as Faye Dunaway, and I think she's overacting more as Faye Dunaway than she does as Selena. Just introducing the special. Just watch the first 2 minutes, Andy. It'll blow your mind.
I want to watch the whole thing. I just didn't have time last night because again I was falling asleep.
It's actually a really good, like like 45 minutes. It's a really good
Salkins did do good making of specials though for TV to promote them, because I mean the Santa Claus the movie one's brilliant.
What's really fun, and I'm sure you saw it, Brendan, but in the making of, they show the first costume Supergirl was supposed to wear was the like 80s-ish, like with the headband and like the wider S shield like at the shoulders.
I actually didn't mind the costume if she didn't have the headband and her hair was the same. I thought the costume was actually kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, that was very much like, I think in Crisis on Infinite Earths, when she dies, like 2 years later in the comics, that might be the costume that she's wearing. If not, it's what she wore up until then. Because that's what she had in the comics for a long time, was the headband and everything. But I just thought that was really cool that they were going for that. But I do think they made the right choice in giving her more of just the classic S shield and just the regular look that she has in the movie in the end.
Yeah, I didn't mind the costume, but I could have done without the big hair and the headband. But like the costume, to me, it still looked enough like Christopher Reeve's costume, but just a little bit different. Whereas obviously this is the one she wears is like literally a female version of the Christopher Reeve costume. Have you seen those photos, Andy?
Yes, I think it's so cool that they were going to try to do that. And I do have a soft spot for the 80s Supergirl costume just because of the 80s-ness of it. I think that for the movie, they definitely made the right choice because what she wears is pretty perfect. You can't, I've no notes. It's Supergirl, but it feels more timeless than the 80s one would have.
Right. Yeah.
But I appreciate that they tried. I think that's cool. We talked a little bit about the carnival. Again, I dig the carnival. But when we're going to God, this movie is weird, it's not enough to have Ethan get put into, danger by going into the bumper cars. Why are the bumper cars football players? I've never seen that in my life except for this movie. And I've got to believe that they made those for this movie of like, what if the bumper cars were 3 football players on one side and 3 on the other side? It's such a bizarre choice because it's so distracting, at least to me, from not only from that like scene where it's like you're supposed to care about him getting saved, but then she flies away with him in it. And so it's supposed to be kind of this sweet scene where she saved him, she's flying away, she's flying him to safety, but all you can see are these giant caricature football player faces. It's and just
it didn't even seem very threatening, to be honest, like the bumper car thing.
They're bumper cars, yeah, right. How much damage could they really do? They're literally designed to bounce off of each other.
Yes.
Now, I've been looking just at as we've been talking about this, like the soft lighting on Faye Dunaway. Looked up the cinematographer, and it's Alan Hume, I think his name is, and he shot some Bond movies. He shot Return of the Jedi.
Like, he was a legit, really good cinematographer, and the production designer was Richard McDonald. He did The Addams Family with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston. So, I mean, it's just crazy that there was so much like really good, genuine talent, in front of and behind the scenes of this, and it just couldn't come together because there were a lot of pieces that should have worked.
I mean, I will say that it feels like the Salkins, as strange as they were, or as much problems as they had on their productions, they usually did spring for top talent. You think about Richard Donner and Mario Puzo and Tom Mankiewicz and really legit people, Gene Hackman, and
Yeah.
they were willing to write the check for the talent if they think it would help their movie. So I'm not surprised that the pedigree behind the camera here is really strong. And because like Juno Zwark, the least respected, but very competent director over the years, because he knows how to shoot a movie like he does. He was coming off Somewhere in Time, which I know I've said it before. If you've never seen Somewhere in Time, it's freaking amazing. It's so good. Like, he knows what he is doing, but he was also the kind of director who would take orders. He would do what the Salkins ask, and that's what they were looking for, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked that they had talent involved. And speaking of, they shot at Pinewood Studios. We brought it up briefly earlier, but it's worth noting that they built most of this production on Pinewood Studios. They built Midvale, Illinois, which I'm from Illinois. I'd never been to Midvale. I'm glad that I know that it was built on a soundstage, so I don't go try to find that Popeyes, because if it was real, I would. I would. But like, Pinewood is legit, right? Like, it's where the Bond movies were made. It's where Batman '89 was made. It's where Aliens was made. Like, legit
Santa Claus
movies.
the movie was made.
Santa Claus the movie. I bet you, didn't even move his office. He was just like, he wrapped up Supergirl and just stayed.
While you guys were talking, then I didn't think to look at it before, but I did just do a check. So the budget for Supergirl was 35 million.
Mm-hmm.
Budget for Santa Claus was 50.
Yeah.
So they did spend more money on Santa Claus.
Right. But 35 in 1984 was not nothing.
That was chump change, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, I also love, being from Chicago. I love that for the Supergirl movie, there's no Metropolis, it's Chicago. So when she's flying over the big city, she's flying over Chicago, and that makes me happy, just as a hometown boy.
Well, there you go.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah. I've never been there, and I would like to go someday. That's all I have to say about that.
Chicago's the best. Great skyline, and so when she's flying over, I'm like, oh. But what's funny is, on one of the movie posters for Supergirl, they show her flying in front of the Statue of Liberty with New York in the background. And there is no New York / Metropolis in this movie. She is strictly in Illinois, and when she goes to the big city, it's in Chicago. Sorry. So we made the Pinewood Batman connection, which I think is fun. And then you mentioned it earlier, Hart Bochner, who plays Ethan here, who, like, honestly, I think the worst character. Just the worst. Yeah. Poor guy had nothing to play, but even then it just didn't work for me.
He was given nothing and he gave nothing.
pretty much. But yes, he plays that Weasley guy in Mask of the Phantasm. What's his name? Arthur, I think.
Yeah,
Arthur. I want to say Arthur Reeves, but I don't know if that's right.
It's Arthur something or other. But yeah,
that sounds right. Yeah,
the Weasley guy who wants to romance Andrea, but she's not having it. But yeah, I love that connection too. That, Ellis from Die Hard was also here as the hunk. Here's how I made the headcanon to myself though, and I'm probably giving them way too much credit, right? But the character of Ethan is like paper thin. There is nothing to him other than he's dreamy, right? And because he is dreamy, all the women in the movie are fighting over him. Supergirl falls in love with him, not knowing a single thing about him other than his first name. She's in love with him, and there's nothing else there. And I want to say that they were flipping it because in the 80s, that's usually how the female character was treated. Is as long as she was hot, everybody loved her and you didn't have to know another thing about her. I feel like this was the flip of that. And they were like doing a subversion of the trope in movies at the time.
So it is a very progressive feminist.
It is.
Power fantasy movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at it just from that perspective, like very few event films in 1984, all of the leads are women. You know, like it's because it's Supergirl, it's Lucy, it's Selena, it's Bianca, and then if you want to throw Mia Farrow in there for good measure, like yes, the bulk of the leads are all female, so it was a bit progressive in that way. And again,
I mean, you like you said, you might be giving them too much credit, but
probably.
I mean, they might have gotten something right on accident.
I think so. I think they accidentally did it, but it does work that way.
I'm just trying to think of a movie where the hero of the film gets attacked by two female rapists. I just can't. I can't think of any. But I get what you're saying.
All right. Record scratch.
Just flipping it. It's just, But no, I get what you're saying. But I mean, I didn't realize how, kind of a hunky guy Hart Buckner was, because to me, he's just always Ellis from Die Hard. It blew my mind that he was in, when I was watching Urban Legend, I think for last year's Scare-a-thon, that he's in that. I was like, holy shit, that's Ellis from Die Hard.
Oh, I don't remember that either, but I haven't seen that movie in ages.
Yeah. Actually, it was Urban Legend 2, sorry, so that's probably why you've forgotten about it.
Oh, I did not see Urban Legend 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, there's all that stuff. You mentioned it briefly, but Supergirl does go back to the Phantom Zone and runs back into Zoltar. And this was another thing where, like, when they're escaping from the Phantom Zone, it felt very Dark Knight Rises, of like you get one chance to climb out of the pit. Although Dark Knight Rises, you could fail and then go do push-ups and then succeed. Here, no, that's true.
I know it's true.
That's true.
That's why I'm laughing.
You get punched in the back, you do some push-ups, you're good to go. Good as new. But here you get one chance. And I kind of appreciated that rationale of like, no, you get one shot and you're probably going to die. But anyway, my point is this, is when they're crawling out, that was another thing where I was like, those effects looked pretty good, of like the giant, red tornado and stuff of them trying to climb their way out. Like there was some stuff in there. I was like, okay, like that's actually pretty well done even now, this long later.
I did think in the Phantom Zone we were going to have another 80s movie trope when she falls into that like swamp thing. I was just like, this is quicksand. This is a quicksand moment.
Oh.
You know how quicksand was going to kill everyone in the movies in the 80s.
Yes.
No, it was some goopy slime stuff. And what's the whole have a spray? That I'm like, what is happening here?
Like I said, I bet Peter O'Toole showed up on set, was told the camera is rolling, and just did whatever. Like that's how his line readings, his performance, everything seems very much like he is cashing a check and nobody really cares because he's Peter O'Toole.
Is it his version of I'm going to play Jor-El as a suitcase
or a bagel?
Yeah, bagel. Yeah.
I thought the same thing. The whole squirt. It's like
squirt. That's right.
It felt like a very like actorly of like, oh, I need some more business while I'm doing this. I don't want to just dump exposition. I've been living here a long time. So I've decided I created my own little version of vodka. And like, it just feels like something that was,
I think that thing was full of vodka, to be honest.
Yeah. Yes. And now it's so random. Do you want to squirt? But yeah, so they crawl out of the Phantom Zone. Well, she does, and he does not. Poor Zoltar.
Have a squirt for Zoltar.
Everyone have a squirt for Zoltar.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It was so random, but it kind of made me laugh. Is Selena grabs Lucy and Jimmy and then Nigel, and she's got them hanging in cages. And I think Nigel goes, "Oh, the old hanging in cages bit," which I was like, "Oh, a little fourth wall break in there."
Yeah. But doesn't she age him terribly? And then the next time I see him, he's normal. Did I?
She like gave him some sort of rash like on his face.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then then he looks kind of like beat up. So I don't know. She just kind of was like torturing him with with her magic.
The old warlock math teacher. That bit.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. That old chestnut.
And then I'm not super clear on how they defeat Selena, because it was basically like Supergirl escapes from the shadow, but then just flies around, and that magic sucks Selena and poor Bianca. I think Bianca got a raw deal into a mirror, I think, like not even into the Phantom Zone.
I'd have been happier with Bianca surviving and walking away than what's his face, the warlock.
Within Nigel. I know.
Nigel,
I agree.
yeah.
I
He's
agree.
more
I think
evil
poor
than she
Bianca.
was.
I
Yeah,
know.
Bianca's terrific. She's just there for the ride.
The train ride.
Right.
The ghost train. I mean, I like the moment where they're like talking about paying the bills and they got to start a coven so they can collect the dues. And I was like, oh, wait, you pay bills on your ghost train building? Like the power company sends you a bill there?
I will say, even watching this a few days ago, I do not remember a single thing about what happens in like the last 10 minutes of this movie.
Maybe that's why they cut the 20 minutes, is because, it only captured you so long.
I think by that time I'd really checked out.
Well, but like, again, I'm like, I thought like the big creature at the end at least was like a fittingly epic conclusion, like of like, okay, like that's interesting, as opposed to if she just, super breathed Selena into, some goop or something. But yeah, she says goodbye to Ethan, and he knows that she's Linda, and Jimmy and Lucy are, they're safe. And she goes back to Argo City because the dodecahedron got lost. They were like, oh, in a matter of days, we'll like run out of air and whatever. So the whole time I'm like, how long's she been gone? I hope they're okay back there.
Yes.
I was worried about that.
We don't even see her go back home.
No, we do. Like in the end credits, you see her fly back to Argo City.
Oh, okay. I just turned it off, I think, when I saw her like go into the water, and I gave it a couple of minutes and nothing happened. So I was just like, okay, this must just be the end of it. No,
she goes under the water and you see her flying to Argo City, and then over Argo City is when the credits come up.
Okay.
So yes, but she, at the ending, it like implies that Argo City is just under the water, because she doesn't go through all the cool, weird, trippy effects that she went through to get out of Argo City. But you just have to go with it. You have to assume that she
again giving them way more credit than they probably deserve. I mean, I wonder if there was some sort of inspiration from like the bottle city of Kandor, like that, rocket or whatever she used to actually travel to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a portal that can kind of take you back and forth between the two, and Argo is inner space is actually just shrunken down and like in like a pocket dimension or something. I don't know. I'm probably thinking about this way more than they did.
all the logic and science of how the city exists in inner space is lost on me, and I want to believe it's not because I'm stupid, but just because it doesn't really make sense and you shouldn't think about it.
Yes.
And that's fine. And I'm sure that's what they were thinking is like, listen,
Yes.
The movie's over. All we got to show is that she gets back and saves her family. That's it.
Yes.
Who cares about the rest? Just assume she knows the way home. It's fine. Anyway, anything, I know we jumped around a bit, but anything else in Supergirl that we failed to mention, favorite parts and things like that? Favorite Bianca lines?
I think it's when I think Nigel's coming back to the ghost train place or whatever, and I think Bianca and Selena are having a back and forth, and she's like, "He's here," and she's like, "What? Just say it." She's out with it, and she says, "Nigel," real quick. It just gave me a laugh how she said that.
Well, all right. Let's give let's do a favorite part, worst part. Worst part, Brendan. Least favorite.
Oh, Jesus, dude. This is tough. I don't know. because there's just so much that didn't work for me. I can't think of like a worse part. I would just say like the plot conveniences were like, because there was a lot of things I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. I found that frustrating, so I'll just say that as a broad answer.
All right. What about you, Jay?
I mean, I will. Brendan's brought it up a lot, but in a movie full of all sorts of weirdness and things that you can gloss over, just saying, okay, maybe they didn't think it through, it doesn't make sense, whatever. The scene with the rapist is very uncomfortable, and even if it's meant to show that she can take care of herself and can handle even, the worst kind of people that she could encounter, it's just it just is not a pleasant scene at all.
For better or worse, that's going to be the scene that I remember years after I've forgotten
Right,
everything
yeah.
else about this movie. That's the scene I'm going to remember.
Yeah. For me, I mean, like, again, I think the worst thing about it is the love story with Ethan. I just think none of that works. So, yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know if that's a part, but that's the part of the movie that I just think just doesn't work at all. A favorite part, Brendan?
Can I? This might be a cheat. I don't know, but can I say Helen Slater? Because I thought for someone who didn't have any, like I think this was her first movie. I don't think she is as good as Christopher Reeve, but she's still very good. Even her as just Linda Lee, I thought she was good, and I mean, it goes without saying, but I mean, she was stunning. So I mean, yeah, I think of all the positives, not that there's many for me, but the major positive for this movie is her in a movie filled with, like you said, these big name actors at the time. She holds her own and carries the movie really, really well.
Yeah, I will agree. And I also want to say, like, I love that she has become like part of the extended Super family over the years. How she showed up in Smallville, she showed up in Supergirl, the show, and I love that. Obviously, she showed up in The Flash. I think that's really fun.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay? Favorite part?
When she lands on Earth, just starts flying and just experiencing life on a living planet, and just the joy of having these amazing powers. That's just I mean, she sells it really well. Like you said, Andy, it's cool that it's a lot more like a ballet or like a dance than how Christopher Reeve flies. So she wasn't just doing a one-to-one copy of what he did. Hers was more graceful and everything. And a lot of that was probably just from her having lived this life in this very sterile environment and finally getting to see actual trees and plants and fresh air and everything. So she brought that to that performance there. So that whole scene there is my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah. Well, I think those are both excellent choices. For me, it's love that chicken from Popeyes. I mean, seriously, I like the Popeyes sequence is the best because of it has all the best and worst of the movie in one scene.
Yes.
It's got Jimmy Olsen. It's got the just flagrant product placement. It's got the fun but cheesy town that's built on the back lot, but it also has a pretty good action scene. Again, like the flying effects there when she's, stopping the bulldozer and she flies through the water tower and then wrecking the town. Like there's actually some cool action in there. I just feel like, yeah, if I were to pop in the Blu-ray and show you 5 minutes that represent this movie, I would probably pick that scene. Well, final thoughts and a letter grade for Supergirl. Brendan, you go first, you wet blanket.
Look, like I said at the start, no nostalgia, looking at it through 2026 eyes. And I guess just some sort of logical brain. Yeah, I didn't enjoy this at all. Yeah, like I said, I don't think I'll ever watch this again, which is a shame because I'd love to, if I'm in the mood for doing a Christopher Reeve rewatch or something, I'd love to throw this on with it, but I just can't. I really didn't get any enjoyment out of it at all. I was just left scratching my head for most of it, and I can't believe I watched the longest version out of the three of us too. So that, you know, that's karma, I guess. But yeah, this is a big old D for me. This is not good.
It's way harsh, Ty.
Right.
Jay, what about you?
I mean, it's not a great movie. It's not well made or written. I mean, it's competent in aspects. It's good in some aspects. It's very sloppy and bad in others. But unlike a lot of truly bad comic book films that are worse than this, I find it to be watchable. It's entertaining. There's a lot of fun to be had in it. And I mean, Helen Slater is terrific for the right reasons. And the villains are terrific for the wrong reasons. But it's very watchable. It's much, much better than, say, a Catwoman or the 2015 Fantastic Four, which are barely watchable, if at all.
Mm-hmm.
This at least knows what it is, what it wants to be, and has a good time with it. I I came into it expecting to give it maybe a C. I think I'll give it a C plus. Because again, it's not great. It's not even good, but it's not the worst thing to ever hit celluloid by a big stretch.
Yeah, Jay and I are very on the same page because yes, like I'm never gonna defend this as a great movie. You know, if you go, I don't like it, I'm not gonna fight you on it. I get it. But like a lot of the things that make it quote unquote bad are things that I find charming now because we're so far past it and it's such a fun snapshot into that time. And there are things that I think are good in it. Like you guys said, Helen Slater is good. I do think the villains are a ton of fun to watch, even though they're bizarre and random. Some of the effects, like I said, I was pretty impressed that they held up as well as they did. But then there is a good healthy dose of WTF sprinkled here and there. And again, that, you know, is part of the fun of it, but also I get why it's weird. So I'm not going to defend it as a good movie, but I agree with you, Jay. It is certainly a watchable movie, and when I revisit it, I have fun revisiting it. I think it's still a good time. It may not be good, but I don't think it's bad. I think that it's very much a mixed bag and maybe too easy of a target for, you know, people to hate on. When I actually watch it, I'm like, I don't get why people hate this. I think it's kind of fun. But I did land where you did, Jay. I am also at a C plus, which is, you know, it's like in the middle, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna slightly recommend it, and that's the plus.
I think it has kind of the same. I don't know if legacy is the right word, but the way Batman and Robin is viewed now, for a while, yes, if this was the only Supergirl anything you ever got, then yeah, that's a shame. But there's been other better Supergirl and Superman and even comic book movies since then, and worse comic book movies since then too.
Mhm.
So just appreciating it for what it is, time has been kinder to it because it's almost like a curiosity or an anomaly,
Yes. Yeah.
not a flat out train wreck or abomination.
I very well said. Completely agreed. It is definitely like, hey, you know, did you know they made a Supergirl movie back in 1984? You should watch it, but just know what you're getting into, kind of thing.
Yes.
And it is funny, and you brought this up earlier, Brendan. It is funny that last week Scotty and I reviewed the 1987 Masters of the Universe on Real Fans, and then this week we're doing Supergirl from 1984. I feel very similar about both of them. They're not great movies, but I think they are fun movies for what they are in the time they came out. Um, and so, yeah, it feels fitting because as I was like rewatching this and I was thinking, you know, I was gathering my thoughts, I was like, yeah, I feel a lot of the ways I do about Masters of the Universe. I ain't going to tell you it's great, but I still have fun when I watch it. Anyway, there you go. There's Supergirl, a D and 2 C pluses. And it's just interesting because I do think that this is one that's kind of all over the map as far as the way people feel about it. But, you know, I think it is fun for what it is when it was made.
One of those, if you actually go into it knowing what to expect, I mean, in Brendan's case, you know, that it didn't work, but it could work better knowing that it's just what it's supposed to be.
Right. And honestly, like not too dissimilar from, say, Superman 3, which I don't love. But again, now that we're so removed for it, you watch it as a curiosity and being like, huh, that was a choice. But then there's some good stuff too.
Oh yeah, like the Clark Kent and Lana Lang stuff in that movie is terrific. It's some of the best stuff out of any of the Reeves's movies.
Anyway, what's interesting though is in a few weeks we're going to get a new Supergirl film that couldn't be more that couldn't be further from what this one is, like day and night. So it'll be really interesting to see how that one goes.
And a new Masters of the Universe. So we'll see how that one goes.
In a matter of days, Jay, in a matter of days.
It is worth mentioning, just to, you know, sidetrack for a little minute, but like how excited I am for Masters of... If you'd have told me in January this year that I'd be really excited for the Masters of the Universe movie, I would not have believed you. For a franchise I have no nostalgia for anything, like, and it's not even just like you guys, you know, like Andy, particularly you, like talking it up, but just the marketing and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I want to see this movie. This looks like a lot of fun.
See, I have no attachment to it, and I'm in the exact same boat. Like, I have nothing against it. It was just a little before my time.
That's the thing. I have nothing against it. It just wasn't something I was ever into.
Yeah, and I've seen the first movie, and I mean, I'm the same as you, Brendan. It's enjoyable in ways, but it's not something I've ever revisited other than the one time I saw it. Even though I kind of want to now, just to see.
It'll be a palate cleanser after watching Supergirl. I'll put it that
way. But yeah, I mean, this new movie, it looks like they're doing it right.
Yeah,
which I appreciate.
And you said that you did the podcast, Andy. I must admit, like, I listened to a podcast about a movie that I watched that didn't particularly like. The podcast was twice the length of the movie. And, and I had a blast listening to that movie. And like you guys talking about it made me soften on it a little bit. I was just like, maybe I need to rewatch it again. I don't know. But I thoroughly enjoyed that episode of Real Fans. It was really good.
So did I, yeah.
Thanks. We had a ton of fun. And I mean, yeah. And again, like this, it's like, if you know what you're signing up for, it's so much easier to have fun with it.
Yes.
But I mean, it makes me happy to hear that both of you are looking forward to Masters of the Universe, even if you're not, already huge fans of it. But like I said, all the marketing and everything, it's like, hey, do you like fun? Well, then boy, do we have something for you. And God damn it, I do like fun, and I like colors, and I like creatures, and I like green tigers that are going to kick some ass on the big screen. Thank you very much.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, psyched for that. But we did watch a new episode of The Batman. We're sticking with it. We're getting into that season 4. So let's do that. Let's review the next animated episode from The Batman. All right, where are we? Season 4, episode 3, Clayfaces. It's like aliens, Clayfaces.
Exactly like aliens.
Yep, it's pretty much the same thing. And it's timely because we're also going to get Clayface on the big screen in the fall. So look at that. Clayfaces aired on October 7th. I would only say it that way. October 7th, 2006. It is written by Stephen Melching, directed by Matt Youngberg. So we have the return of Ethan Bennett Clayface, who we have not seen in a while. Like, I think it was after season 2, Brendan, that Bennett and Ying, is it Ying, right?
Yeah.
They both kind of disappeared, where
Yeah.
the showrunners were like, we tried this thing and I don't think we need them anymore. But he's back. So it opens with Joker running one of his Joker plots. This time he's going to poison dog food, so all the dogs in Gotham laugh like hyenas. I thought that was funny. I was like, that's a very Joker thing.
Yes.
And it turns out that his 2 henchmen, is it Punch and Judy?
Yes.
Yep. They are actually Clayface. And so Clayface is there to stop the Joker. He's got a score to settle. So he stops the Joker. Batman and Robin show up, and Ethan says, hey, I called you guys. I'm turning myself in. I just wanted to get even with the Joker first. He's trying to make good. And so Ethan turns himself in. He's back in jail, and he wants to help out. Well, Bruce, of course, old friend of Ethan's, he starts having Wayne Industries whip up a cure for his Clayfaceness. And Ethan's like, I don't know if I want to be cured, because like this could be really useful when I become a cop again. And Bruce is like, maybe you're not going to become a cop again after everything you did. And so while this is happening, we meet Basil Carlo, who seems to be a pretty good actor, but he's got a face only a mother could love. He does an audition, and it seems like the audition he does pretty well, but he's just not a handsome man. And so he loses another gig, and he's like, and he's watching the news, and he hears about Clayface. He's like, how nice would that be? You could just change your face to whatever you want it to be, and it's wasted on this guy. This guy doesn't even appreciate what he has. And so he decides to break into Wayne Industries, steal the Clayface serum formula, whatever. Chugs it down without a thought. That takes some balls. I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And becomes Clayface 2, which is a lot like Christmas 2. And so Basil now, he starts his Clayface reign of terror, taking advantage of his new powers. And Ethan's like, hey, it takes a Clayface to stop a Clayface. Let me out. And Bruce is like, nope, that's not going to happen. But Ethan breaks out himself, and we get a Clayface on Clayface battle with Batman and Robin stuck in the middle. There's a great moment where there's the bat signal. Batman and Robin are there. Robin is one Clayface and Batman is the other Clayface because he set a trap.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. But anyway, Batman, Robin, Clayface, and Clayface, big battle. They finally defeat Basil. They manage to stick them both with the antidote. And so they take Basil into Arkham, where he's hanging out with the Joker again. And we find out, much like the ending of X-Men The Last Stand, the cure might not have taken completely, because Basil still seems to have some clay powers. And that is where we leave it. That's Clayfaces. So I'm going to let Jay go first. Jay, what'd you think?
It was all right. I mean, it was an entertaining episode. I did feel like it was... honestly, I mean, it might have benefited from being a two-parter, just because I feel like a lot of it was really rushed. The Joker stuff at the beginning was very reminiscent of like the Laughing Fish, which I can appreciate, but also it just felt like kind of something we'd seen him do before, even if it was funny. But drawing a comparison to the Supergirl movie, it feels like Basil Carlo knew how to use his powers immediately for some reason, and that was a little jarring. But I mean, it was okay. It kept my attention. I really liked. There were some really funny lines, like I giggled at it earlier, but it was when Joker was talking to Punch and Judy, and I think Judy says something, and Joker snaps at him and is like, first off, speak when spoken to, and second, since when do you speak? I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then at the end with the actual battle with the Clayfaces, I really like that they both had two very unique designs.
Yes.
Where Ethan looks like he did before, just kind of a guy, just very made of misshapen clay, whereas Basil Carlo was actually like a monster. And then when they kind of combined together with Ethan trying to take Basil down, and they got just started growing and kind of enveloping each other in their weird goopiness. That was a really cool scene too. So it was enjoyable. It's just I wish it had a little more room to breathe.
All right, Brendan, what about you?
So a little peek behind the curtain. The last time Andy and I recorded, we were going to do 2 episodes of the Batman. And then sort of like an hour or two before we recorded, you were like, we'll just do one. But I'd already watched the second one. And I didn't get a chance to rewatch it before this recording. So my memory's a little fuzzy on it. So I can't sort of go as in depth as I normally would. But I remember thinking it was really cool in a way for this series to kind of have their cake and eat it too, in that they had to use Clayface as a stand-in for Harvey Dent Two-Face because they couldn't use that character. It was on sort of being held because of what Nolan wanted to do. Not that I think those two things, like, it just seems silly that's sort of what they did, because who cares? Anyway,
Warner Brothers isn't letting Warner Brothers use their own characters.
Yeah, in a world that in no way resembles the other. But anyway, I digress. So, I mean, I liked the Ethan version of Clayface. I thought it was, a way around doing a story like that where Bruce's friend, tortured, becomes the villain. I thought it was just fine. But then, of course, you miss out on your Basil Carlo, the monster Clayface that we all know and love. And like I said, they got their cake and ate it too, because they introduced him in this one. And I thought it was really kind of clever in a way to have them face off against one another. And, for what it seems, Ethan is now, he's, going forward, he is not going to be the Clayface of, and I can't remember if Clayface comes back again. But I thought it was really, really like just a cool Clayface story. I wouldn't say I'd put it up there right next to Feet of Clay, but I'd put it just maybe a rung below. Like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I thought it was great. I definitely felt exactly like you did, Brendan, in that I love that they did the Ethan Bennett version of Clayface, which is fine. Because we know why they did it. And I think that way back when we started the show, I even said, I'm like, well, if there's one character you can just do a new version of, it's Clayface, because there've been so many anyway.
Yeah.
But I never loved that he was the Clayface in this show. And so it was really cool that they found a way to go, okay, Ethan Bennett Clayface is still out there, but let's do a more villainous Basil Carlo version. I think that they twisted it just enough where usually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Basil is handsome. And so the Clayface thing is a tragedy because of his beautiful face. I liked the idea of this is the opposite. This is an actor who can't get work because he's ugly.
Yeah.
And he wants to be Clayface,
Yes,
because
it's
now
the
he can look
motivation.
yeah, I'm like, that's actually really a smart new angle on the character. I thought that was cool. I loved the Joker supporting role. I thought that was really fun. And yeah, like having old Clayface and a new Clayface and then them come to blows for a big Clayface blowout. I just thought it was a ton of fun. I like that we're at the place in this series where they've set up what they needed to set up, and now they can just tell fun, unique stories in this world.
Right.
Where Joker's already out there. Clayface 1 is already out there. Batman and Robin are already working together. And so you've got a status quo, and now you can mix and match all of these different elements to tell fun new stories. And that's what I thought this was.
Mm.
Yeah,
And that
totally
sort of
fair.
goes to my point that I've been saying all along. Like, a lot of people might have started season 1 of this show and gone, and that's why I kept saying, no, stick with it. Because, like, once you get to pretty much, season 3 to a degree, but season 4, like, it's quality Batman, cartoon storytelling and stuff. Like, it really is fantastic. So I'm so glad that we're there, and that you guys are noticing the difference too, because season 4 kicks ass.
Yeah, I mean, even in this episode alone, you have some good Batman action, but you also have Bruce being compassionate and wanting reform for people. Because I mean,
Mhm.
there's never a point. I mean, there's with Ethan, he's like, okay, you know, things might not be able to go back the way they were, but I still want to help you on the road to recovery, on the road to redemption. And I thought that was a really, really nice touch.
Yeah, agreed. No, I thought it was really great, and I really appreciated it, and I love that. Yeah, now there's just a Robin. That makes me happy too. So yeah, the show did get there, and even the last episode, Team Penguin, was kind of the same, where it's like we've already got all these players out there. Now let's mix them up in a new way to tell a different kind of story, and this was the same, and so I thought it was a blast. All right, letter grade, Jay.
I think I'll go with a B plus. Solid, entertaining, not quite up there with the Robin episode that we recorded a couple weeks ago, but still, I mean, just a great, solid 20-minute adventure.
Awesome, Brendan.
I'm going to be you in this and go an A minus. Just one above.
Well, then I'm going to go one above you and go A minus minus. No,
Would that be one below?
I don't know. I am. Yeah, I was A minus is where I landed as well. But yeah, it was a really good episode. Had a great time with it. Also, this is neither here nor there, but I know that you guys are the right audience for it, especially Jay. New episodes of Bat Wheels just dropped.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean, especially Jay?
No, but because of what I'm about to say.
Okay. Yep.
Yes, the new Bat Wheels episode's applicable to both of you. I knew you'd be excited too, Brendan. But we happened upon that, and I was like, "Oh, cool! What is it?" And I saw one that was called Aqua Wheels.
Yes.
Really?
And I was like, "Well, play." So me and Harley and Baby Andy, we sat there and we watched Aqua Wheels, and we saw Batman team up with Aquaman to fight. And this was the part I thought Jay would like: King Tut.
Yes. Oh, I've already watched it, Andy.
Oh, did you? It was amazing. It was amazing. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I loved it.
Can I just, while you mentioned that, I don't know if Jay, if you saw this, but it came up in our group chat the other day. Was it Screen Rant? And I don't even follow them, but I keep getting their posts in my feed. They're so clickbait, and it was, I can't even remember how they worded it, but it was like, Ethan
Hawke's Batman show. Yeah.
It has new episodes on HBO Max or something, and it's just like, and it had a photo of Ethan Hawke. It's like, it's Bat Wheels. Like, come on. It's like, it's the same. Was it Screen Rant who also did the new DC Batman drops in the next couple of days, and it was the Lego Batman game. It's like, take just F all the way off.
Yeah, it's gotten so bad, and it literally pisses me off. And I know it shouldn't because life's too short. But I was just like, what the hell has even happened? Anyway, sorry to go back to the episode. Jay, I'm glad you watched it. I knew I had to when I saw Aqua, but I loved that Aquaman was voiced by John DiMaggio.
Oh yes.
Wasn't quite the same as the Brave and the Bold voice, sadly, but still.
I love that I love that he returned. He did a variation on it. He didn't go as hard as he did on Brave and the Bold, and I think that's fine. Like for this version, I think it works. And did you happen to notice who the voice of King Tut is?
Oh, I think I did, and I forgot. Who was it?
It is Wayne Knight.
That's right.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
yes.
Which is pretty perfect.
Yes.
So I was already
in it previously though, hasn't he?
Yes, he had been in another episode. So it's not like this was his first time, but when Aquaman and Batman, they're underwater, they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then you see King Tut in an underwater crocodile vehicle. Yes. I was like, well, this is amazing. I love it.
I'll have to see if they're
It's the Batman show. It's the Batman show, quote unquote, for toddlers.
Yep. Hey, my toddlers watched it with me, so it counts.
Henry still loves it. He still loves him some Bat Wheels, and he's 5 now.
As soon as it was over, Harley went, "Can I watch more Bat Wheels?" I was like, "You're damn right you can." Anyway, so that's neither here nor there, but there's an extra bonus Batman recommendation for those of you with or without toddlers. Batwheels is on HBO Max and new episodes dropped, including Aqua Wheels. As for the Batman, next up will be the Everywhere Man. That's the name of the next episode whenever we get around to that.
Speaking of voice casting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I won't spoil it, but there's a famous DC icon who voices Everywhere Man.
Ooh, I can't wait to find out. So that'll be next time. But it's almost time to say goodbye, but not just yet, because we have to check in with you, fine feathered finks, and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Darren. What is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. Says all Master Wayne.
Anyway, moving forward, this first email here is from Stuart from Guernsey. He says, all the toy videos and shows have been great. What are the chances you would do a show dedicated to the Batman DC serials from over the years? To my surprise, there have been a number of them. I know you wouldn't be able to taste and review them, but maybe you could just chat about your memories and the box art. I know it's a bit random, but I think it would fit really well with the show, especially after the last few years of Halloween cereal being covered on Real Fans for Real Movies. I hope you and your families are doing well, Stuart. Thanks, Stuart. And Stuart, I love that idea. In fact, when this email came in, I texted Preston.
I was going to say, count me out for that one, because like I said, we just don't have the cereal culture over here. Plus, they would not have been released over here, so I've got nothing.
Yes, I definitely texted Preston. I'm like, hey, there's been a request for Batman cereal. He goes, I'm down. So we just got to find time to do that, but it is on the list, Stuart. So
I will give you a quick review of the Batman vs. Superman Batman serial. It was awful.
Well,
it truly was.
Funny you mention that, because that I have had experience with, because a friend who lives in the States sent me a box of each for the Batman versus Superman, and I thought they both tasted like shit. I didn't like either of them. The boxes were amazing, but the cereals were terrible.
What's weird is, the Batman one was terrible.
Yeah.
The Superman one was just bland. I mixed them together, and it actually made them taste better. Like, it still wasn't great cereal, but I don't know if just the awfulness was offset by the blandness, and it was just kind of leveled out. But yeah, that at least made it palatable.
Yeah, I agree. The Batman one, awful. The Superman one, okay. But the boxes were awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, moving on. Next email here is from Lachlan. It says, hey guys, I'm new to the show. Just discovered you guys a few weeks ago. Wow. And I've absolutely loved everything you've done. As a relatively new Batman fan, up until a few years ago, I was one of those losers who was only into Marvel, and I refused DC. Well, Lachlan, admitting you have a problem is the first step.
Welcome, my friend.
I was wondering, and I'm sure you've been asked before, but have you guys been reading Absolute Batman? I'm sure you guys have, but if you do, what are your thoughts? I personally have loved the comic, and it's great for me, so as I don't have to constantly look up stuff with decades of stories being referenced or talked about in the main continuity. Sorry if it's been asked before. Don't feel the need to answer if you have, but I've been loving the show, and I hope you guys are doing great. Thanks, Lachlan. Well, welcome to Holy BatCast, and welcome to Batman fandom, and that's awesome.
Yes.
I don't think we have been asked this, at least not publicly, but for me, I am not reading Absolute Batman. I know enough about it that I'm like, it just doesn't sound like my thing. I appreciate that people love it. I appreciate them like doing their own thing, but it feels just a little too far off from my Batman, if excuse the phrase. It just feels a little too out there. And I'm like, again, like, great, do your thing. At least it's not the main Batman book, but I like my Batman a little more traditional. So knowing what I know about it, I just don't think it's for me. And I have such limited time to read comics anyway, that I stick with the ones that, I'm a little more into. Brendan, I think, is probably the same.
Yeah. But the artwork alone, I'm like, this doesn't look like it's for me. And yeah, like, I mean, it's sort of well known to the point that it's a running joke now that I don't really read current comics. I don't have the time, and it's kind of expensive, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'd love to, if there was just a fantastic line out there that just came out of nowhere and piqued my interest. Like, say for like the Nightwing run, for example, that Tom Taylor did. Like, I read most of that for several years because it was fantastic and it was great. But I don't know. I just feel like modern comics just haven't been that great for the last handful of years.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
I agree. Yeah,
I'm still reading the quote unquote new Batman book, whatever the Matt Fraction one, and I've been enjoying that. I been read Batman and Robin Year One, and I'm still catching up on Tom Taylor's Nightwing as well as The World's Finest, which I really like. So those are the four.
The World's Finest I need to get to.
Yeah, those are the four that have been taking my attention. And again, like we've talked to Joe and Eric about Absolute Batman, and they're into it, and they'll say stuff, and then I'll Google it and I'll be like, what the hell is this? And again, like it's crazy that so many people are into it, but when I look at it, I'm like, God, like, is this Batman? So anyway, I don't know. Jay, do you read it?
I read it up until like this past fall. It wasn't necessarily bad. It was just I kind of got to a point where I was like, this, like you, it's not what I want out of a Batman book. I am so glad people are into it because just people getting into comics however they can is awesome. But it just got to be a little. I mean, like you said, Brendan, I'm just honestly just burnt out on modern comics for the most part anyway, just because there's nothing out there right now that really holds my attention enough that I want to keep up with it. I will say the annual for Absolute Batman was awesome. I think it was written by Daniel Warren Johnson, and I can't remember the artist, but it's pretty much Batman takes on a bunch of white supremacists and just wrecks the crap out of them. And it rules. So, check that one out. But as for that line, again, it's really good that, people are getting into it. It's good that, comics are making money and staying in the forefront of culture. It just wasn't something for me. For a recommendation along with Andy's, Batman and Robin Year One was really good. Batman Dark Patterns, that was another limited series.
Yes, yeah. I have one more of those to read.
I've been waiting for the trade version to come out so I can get that one digitally.
Yeah, it's really good. I recommend that one as well. And Batman and Robin Year One is actually getting a sequel series in a couple months. I think it's called Dynamic Duos.
Oh, cool.
With Wade and Sam Neill, like all the teams coming back. So I'll definitely read that one when it comes out.
Because that's the other thing I found really hard as well is the stuff that I have really looked forward to. Like, say, for example, like the Batman 89, when it first was released and everything, I was so excited for that. But then the delay, and then like the quality at the end just wasn't that great either. And then like the second series, like everyone's just been like, don't bother, it's terrible. And like I was looking forward to...
Don't worry, I'm still going to make you read it so we can review it.
Like I was looking forward to Hush too. And like from what I've heard, it's not that great. And then you guys were in the group chat the other day, Andy, you were talking about, I didn't even realize the delays that thing's had. Like, I'd have found that very frustrating. I mean, obviously, if Jim Lee's health, that can't be helped. Yeah. But yeah, it's like maybe release these things when you're you're much more advanced in where you're up to. It's so hard to keep track of. And like I said to Andy the other day, because we were talking about maybe reviewing Woman of Tomorrow for this, like I don't have the DC Infinite app anymore because like it was like $180 for a year, and it's just I wasn't getting my money's worth out of it. And to even just get that comic digitally here on Amazon and stuff, I can only get the single issues, and they're like $8 an issue digitally. Oof. And it's just like I can't, like, if the trade was out for $15 or so, $20 digitally, sure, I'd grab it and we could have done that without a problem. But it's very, very expensive. Just so you know, Andy, I have as a last ditch effort, I have put my name down at the library to get a copy of Woman of Tomorrow to try and read it, hopefully before the movie comes out. But I can't make any promises.
I mean, I can pull up my version and screenshot every page and send them to you.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny, and I'm sorry for the tangent, but this week is about He-Man. It's not about Batman. It's not about Supergirl. What I wanted to do either this week or next week is I wanted to do the DC Universe versus Masters of the Universe crossover.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot find it anywhere. Can't find it anywhere.
Really? Even you can't find it? Christ, I got no hope then.
It's not on DC Universe Infinite. It's not available digitally. The only way to get it is to get an out of print paperback for like $100, and I'm not doing that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, well, there go those plans. Anyway, let's move forward. This next email is from Dill Dietz. It says, hey guys, I keep hearing on your show that Mr. Freeze is not a fit for the Reeves verse, but picture it. Fridge salesman gets his license revoked by a corrupt Harvey Dent for not paying the mob protection money and goes on a killing spree with an ice pick. 2.5 hours into the film, the newspapers dubbed the killer Mr. Freeze. I joke, all in fun though. It's a bummer to see all the hate that you guys have gotten over your takes on the Reeves films. As someone who thought the Batman was mid and wasn't a fan of the Snyderverse either, I understand how loud the toxic minority can get. Thanks for creating a fan space where differing views are respected instead of a cause for contention and not letting the small group of haters get to you. Quick question. Have you guys covered Superman Brainiac attacks? It's a tie-in to the 90s animated show, and it could be a cool episode before we get Brainiac's big screen debut next summer. Dill. Thanks, Dill. First of all, I love your fan fiction of a Reeves Mr. Freeze. Yeah. Honestly, it probably wouldn't be far off.
No, it's not the first time I've heard that joke, quote unquote joke. And unfortunately, it sounds like it could be very, very real.
I said, well, you know, like the Reeves Mr. Freeze would be, you know, a guy in a winter coat with a fire extinguisher, and that's probably all we get. Anyway, thank you for the supportive words. It's fine. It is what it is. You know, like, here's the problem. Like, I can't lie about what I like and what I don't like. I'm not good at it. I'm not a good liar. So I have to be honest. But when I'm being honest, I'm trying to be respectful. So hopefully it comes off that way. And I appreciate the support. As for Superman Brainiac attacks, no, we have never reviewed that. So it's a good idea, especially before Man of Tomorrow next year. Brendan, thoughts?
I'm sure I've seen that. Actually, I think I bought that on DVD for my younger brother, the first trip I ever made to America in 2006. But yeah, I'd be down to watch that for sure.
All right. Well, put it on the list. Okay, one last email here. It's from our old pal Tom Fallows. It says, hey guys, I had heard in the past on the show that you had criticisms for Scott Snyder's Death of the Family in that he didn't have the balls to kill the Bat family or anyone in it. My question is, who would you have killed? Or would you have just killed the family? So you're the Joker. Who gets killed? What death makes that story better? Happy slaughtering, Tom.
Jason.
Don't jump to the end, but yes, Jason. So I need to clarify my comments because here's the thing. I am not like one of those bloodthirsty fans who's like, you got to kill someone, otherwise there's no stakes. Nothing like that. Here was my issue with Death of the Family is they hyped it up that Batman's world will never be the same. Like there was so much exaggerated hype and statements from DC and from Scott Snyder about like, you can't miss this. This is going to be a genre changing event. And it was like hyped up like that. And then when I read it, it was a good story on its own. And had it just been a normal story, I'd have been like, oh, that's kind of a cool Joker story. But because they hyped it up as things will never be the same, and then when it's over, nothing changed, I was like, well, y'all just lied. And that was my disappointment. It's not that they had to kill somebody. It's that they pretended like they were going to, and then nothing changed. So that was it. And Jay, as a comic reader, you remember that, right? You remember how they did that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end, they did make it seem like Bruce had been ostracized from the family, which, again, could have been interesting. But other than some I don't even remember. But I mean, other than some minor references over the next couple of months in various issues of various books, there really weren't any repercussions for it.
Yeah,
It just happened, and then it's like everything was still there. And like you, I mean, I don't want everything to fall apart, but if you're gonna take a big swing, then actually, hit the ball. Don't
sure. Yeah, yeah.
don't, um and yeah, I mean, I jest about killing Jason, who should have stayed dead. But if he's not going to, then yes. If you're not going to physically kill someone, then killing the idea of Bruce having allies could have been interesting. A lot of room to explore stuff there. But again, they just didn't do anything with it.
Yep, absolutely. Brendan, thoughts?
I think I remember reading it, and at the end just being a bit meh.
Well, because
Yeah.
there was also like a big bait and switch where the whole time the Joker had like these platters with like a cover over the platter, and it's like,
Right.
what's in the platter? What's in the platter? And then like towards the end, he's got the whole family tied up at a table, and the platter's open, and it's their faces. So like they're all like bandaged up, so it looks like he like cut off their faces. And then they took off their bandages. He's like, just kidding. I didn't do anything. You guys are fine. And it was like, well, great. Um, anyway, that was, again, it just felt like a big bait and switch, but I agree with you. If the point was to kill someone, Jason or Damian or both, I'm fine with that.
Yep, I'd be the same.
Yes.
Anyway, we're going to close the Wayne Manor mailbox. If you've got something for us, please send that to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. And that will do it for this super episode of Holy BatCast. Hope you guys had fun looking back at the 1984 oddity of Supergirl as you prepare for her big screen return. Anyway, Jay, thanks for making the time. It was a pleasure having you. Where else can people keep up with you?
Like I said earlier, I have a blog that I, just randomly write things on every now and then. It's just Comic Pause at Blogspot. Or not Blogspot, it's WordPress. I don't know why I said that. And then, I'm in the Real Fans groups. I'm on Letterboxd, playing a band. We're called Paloma Blanco. If you're, around and want to listen to some music, look us up. But yeah, you can find me those places.
Sweet. And Brendan, thank you as well.
Not a problem. I'm just
Where
glad that
are you?
I didn't ruin any friendships with my thoughts on Supergirl.
It was a little harsh, but it's fine. We love you.
That's good to know.
I'm more forgiving of that than your letterbox review of Masters of the Universe. How about that?
I thought what I wrote was very fair. But I might have to bump it up a star grade after watching Supergirl. You can find me on Facebook and in the Real Fans groups and on Letterboxd.
Awesome. Well, I already told you all where to find me. Thank you as always for joining us and for downloading or streaming the show. Please do follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you love the show, something you can do to support us, it doesn't cost a penny, is a nice review. A 5-star review would really help us out and it makes me feel good. So I would love if you would take the time to do that. Only takes a minute. Again, find the show on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Holy BatCast, and send anything for the Wayne Manor mailbox at Holy BatCast to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the talented Gaurav Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And that will do it. On behalf of Jay and Brendan, I've been Andy. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same Selena channel. That's right. Yeah.
We stand Bianca, and you know it.
That's right. Bianca. Same Bianca time, same Selena channel. Same Nigel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for. Yep.
Yeah, every time you say it, the theme music plays in my head.
Of course it does. Of course. It's just
Pavlov response.
ingrained. Yep. kudos to Gorev
Gorev?
with his amazing work. Gorev, yep. That was what started our collaboration. Is he sent that in? I was like, this is awesome. And so now he did our theme music. The Fire Rises poached him because they have
Yeah, of
no
course they do.
integrity. Yeah.